I'm building an AI version of myself. I've never said it publicly before. Wow, I'm building an AI version of myself. This is not a product or gimmick, it's a health accommodation. I have sickle cell disease, and there will be stretches this year when I may not be able to show up the way I would normally. I'm a 25-year AI governance expert. I advise governments and corporations on exactly this kind of technology. I know what these tools can do. I know what they should do, and I'm discovering in real time on my own laptop that they do not work for me. My skin tone renders incorrectly in avatar tools. My voice loses accuracy in cloning software. My face maps imperfectly onto the systems I'm trying to use as a backup for my own presence. More on that at length in public over the coming weeks. 1 in 6 people globally has a disability. That is over 1.3 billion people. 133 million Americans live with a chronic illness. 15 to 20% of the global population is neurodivergent. We are not a minority group in any meaningful sense of the word. We are the largest underserved population in the history of technology. Yet still, when organizations design AI systems, accessibility is treated as an afterthought, a compliance checkbox, something that gets addressed after the product is already on the market, and then only if and when someone complains loudly enough. Let's take a look at this in practice. Voice interfaces. Built primarily on data from able bodied speakers without speech differences, they produce worse accuracy for users with speech impediments, accents, or non standard vocal patterns. In short, they work best for the people who need them least. Visual dashboards. Designed without attention to color contrast, cognitive load, and neurodivergent processing patterns. Users who would benefit most from AI assisted interfaces are most likely to find them unusable. Healthcare AI, built on datasets that underrepresent disabled and chronically ill patients and producing recommendations that harm all patients in need of accurate medical intelligence. This is not a design accident. Every design decision that fails to explicitly include a population explicitly excludes that population. There is no neutrality in design. When you don't design for the full range of human bodies, minds, and experiences, you design for one subset. And everyone else finds this out the moment they need the tool most. I know some of you may interpret this as a moral argument, but I want you to understand it as a regulatory one. Take the EU AI Act. Came into force 2024, enforcement building through 2025 and 2026. What does it say about accessibility? High-risk AI systems. And this category includes AI used in healthcare, employment decisions, educational access, and financial services, have specific obligations around non-discrimination and equitable access. Systems that produce worse outcomes for protected populations, including disabled users, create legal exposure, not hypothetical future legal exposure. Current legal exposure actively under examination by European regulators. The United States doesn't have a comparable federal AI statute yet, but the Americans with Disabilities Act is 34 years old, and its provisions are being actively applied to digital accessibility in ways that organizations deploying AI tools are only beginning to understand. If your AI governance strategy does not include disability access, it is incomplete, and that incompleteness is measurable, auditable, and an increasing regulatory risk. My consulting firm Include works specifically at this intersection: accessible AI design, governance audit, and compliance strategy for organizations navigating this terrain. If that's your organization, our link is in the description. Now, more on that AI clone I'm building. Here's the full picture. I have sickle cell disease, and I'm currently undergoing lymphedema, a gene therapy that has the potential to cure it. My current practical reality is that there will be periods in the coming months when I cannot do this work because my body will not allow it. There will be times when showing up on screen, speaking at a conference, or even sitting at a desk for more than an hour will be impossible. So I did what I tell organizations to do. I used AI to solve an access problem. Started building a voice clone and a video avatar, the infrastructure that could represent my voice and face in content and communications when I physically cannot. As a 25-year AI governance expert, I have spent decades documenting the bias embedded in these systems. And here is what happened when I tried to use them on myself. The voice cloning software I tested, using 3 platforms, showed measurable accuracy gaps on my voice. Not on the demo voices in their marketing materials, but mine. The tonal qualities that carry my Togolese heritage, my years living in Japan, the qualities that make my voice recognizably me, Dr. Dede Tetsubayashi. Those are the qualities the technology handled with the least accuracy. Video avatar tools I tested, using 4 platforms, rendered my skin tone lighter than it is every single time. Not dramatically, but measurably. 2 of those platforms did more than lighten my skin. They changed my entire face. The avatar generated was more masculine. The bone structure, the jaw, the visual architecture of authority, the model apparently associated with the voice and credentials. The AI version of me was not a lighter skinned version of me. It was a man. 1 platform, when given my name and professional title as context input, generated an avatar that was a different race from mine. The system read my credentials, made an inference about the most probable person holding them, and constructed a face I do not have. I am not reading about this in a research paper. I am watching it happen on my own screen. The lip sync tools misaligned on my face in ways they don't on the lighter skinned demos those platforms use in their marketing. Again, I am not reading about this in a research paper. I am watching it happen on my own screen. I am not only the AI governance expert who built a career saying this technology has a bias problem. Now I am also the evidence. I'm calling this series Building Me Back, and I'll be documenting every finding, every failure, every workaround, every measurement, and publishing all of it publicly on my Substack, regardless of whether the results are flattering to the technology or not, or on the treatment in next week's video. What I'm experiencing at the intersection of cutting edge medicine, insurance bureaucracy, genetic data, and racial health equity is something that deserves its own place on public record. This video is the introduction. The link to subscribe to this series is in the description. What does this mean? What does it mean for organizations deploying AI, for practitioners building it, for leaders identifying compliance gaps? It means asking from the beginning, who is this tool likely to fail? Beyond who it's designed for, but who will fall through the cracks when it doesn't work as intended? It means testing across the full demographic range of your users, including disabled users, neurodivergent users, users with dark skin, users with accented speech, users whose names and faces and voices fall outside the training data majority. It means publishing accuracy metrics by demographic group, not hiding behind aggregate performance numbers that look good because the majority population inflates them. At Include, this is the work. Our work. We audit AI systems for these gaps, and we build the governance capacity to close them over time, iteratively, sustainably. Inclusive AI is not a features list, it's a design philosophy. April's theme is Access is Power, 4 weeks, 4 cornerstone ideas, and running alongside them, 2 live documentary series that are the most personal content I've ever published. Building Me Back, the AI voice clone experiment, Iphigenia, a public record, starting next week. Subscribe. Share with someone who should hear it. And if your organization cares to understand its accessibility posture before regulators do, book a consultation through my link below. I'll see you in the next episode.